Well, hello. I hope I am successfully recording in my garden. So, again, as those of you who are familiar with my videos know, I'm still learning all this tech stuff. And just a moment ago, I tragically stepped on a poppy that had volunteered and was growing up. And I was trying to move the table around to well, I don't think it's going to work for me to do the video in the garden because the Wi-Fi is not strong enough. So I'm sorry about that. Some nice roses from the garden from last week. And I can set it up, I think, right here. Okay, well, hi. So this is my office space and art room. And I am really happy gardening. I wanted to show you I have a beautiful holy milk thistle that's like 5 feet tall, and my artichokes, one of them is 8 feet tall. They're pretty amazing. And I have tomatoes and parsnips and broccoli. One of the broccoli plants is like a monster. It overwintered. It's really big. And it's very impressive. I'm impressed by it. All right, and then I can set this up like that on this thing. Okay. Okay, that seems to be about the right height. I can angle it. Well, the roses are blooming. We just did a beautiful online and in real life. We had little pods. So we had a Aphrodite Temple of the Roses. That was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was really beautiful. We had a number of new guests, which was lovely. And people can find out about those events at aphroditetemple.com. And it's beautiful out. It's like almost 80. The Leach Botanical Garden, which is only about a quarter of a mile from here, and which I can go to on my handicap golf cart because it's a licensed vehicle that my brother sent me. It used to be my dad's pit car for his drag racing, and in 2016, I think my brother shipped it out here to me, and I've had it in under the carport. And Megan and I got it out last Friday, and it runs, so that's good. And then my plan was to go to the Leach Botanical Garden today, but it's closed because it's Monday, Memorial Day. But I drove there with my friend Dave, and we found out when the hours are and when it's open, and it looks beautiful. It's just been renovated. And this, for 2021, they're not going to charge an entrance fee, but then they will after that. But anyway, I'm going to go and take Priya, who just moved into the neighborhood. She lives about a mile from me here. And she rode her bike over the other day, which is fabulous. And her birthday party is next Saturday, which is going to be fun. And all of that. So mostly right now, I have one-on-one sessions with some clients. I garden a lot. And I try to make most of my own food. And I do reading and research. I found this really funny, hilarious new graphic, well, it's not new, graphic novel called Maneater by Chelsea Kane and a few other people. She's here in Portland. And then I found out that there's a beautiful graphic novel. It's called Books with Pictures, and it's owned by a woman named Katie, who seems to be in her 40s. And they have a service where they'll drop off, like, you can get a subscription for the graphic novels that you want. So I picked a bunch of cool, kinky, queer, feminist graphic novels like Man Eater, this one, and this one. And I'm going to have those delivered. The one that I started following really regularly is called Monstrous, and I've read all 6 of those volumes, and there's more coming out. And all this is kind of research because I have a fantasy, clearly, because I do not do art well enough to do a graphic novel. But I thought it would be super fun to make like a Living Love Revolution graphic novel and to make it about Aphrodite and then some of my own memoir stuff. Anyway, that's a fun idea that I've had for a while, and I need to find some artists that can help me actualize that. So if you know any young queer graphic novel artists, let me know who they are so I can connect with them. And the painting behind me is called Summer. It was painted by my beloved Judith Sparks, who lives in Eugene. And I think some of you have seen it on my advertising work, you know, the graphics that I use for events. All right, what else did I want to say to you today? I was trying last week to tell you about the conferences that I went to. There were 3 major conferences about focusing on ancient goddesses last weekend. One that I attended was by Andrew Harvey and the person who now calls herself V. She used to be named Eve Ensler, and she started the Vagina Monologues. And if you aren't aware of her work, I really encourage you to look it up and support it, because when she started making money from the Vagina Monologues, after that went viral, she started creating different foundations and institutions to help end violence against women and girls. And one of her big projects is called the City of Hope. It's in, I hope I get this right, the Republic of the Congo. I think it's called the Democratic Republic of the Congo is the name of the country. And because it was a known technique to use rape as a tactic of war, there were many, many women who were, you know, survivors of sexual violence. So she created a program called City of Hope, you know, with the help of other people, where women can get trained for 6 months, and they get actual physical healing and therapy, and then they learn different skill sets, and then they go on to be leaders in their communities. And now they also have a farm of many acres. It's a permaculture farm, and they're connected with all these different organizations. It just seems like a really right action. And her books are also awesome. Her books about her experiences surviving cancer, and just other, yeah. So now she has basically become a devotee of Kali, and she and Andrew Harvey delivered a really beautiful weekend experience that was called Revolution of the Mother. And I got very inspired by it. Basically, they're just encouraging people that have mystic experiences of the Divine Mother to be public about it and let people know, and to be inspired by their personal gnosis with the ancient deities. So that was really very inspiring. And one of the things I really liked the most about it was Andrew saying that joy is power, like true joy is power. And I totally and absolutely agree with that. It's really beautiful. And then the second conference that I attended was the Ma'at conference, the ancient Egyptian goddess Ma'at, that was put together by Mitch and Lori Stargrove, and had all kinds of presenters. It was like a whole day from 10 in the morning until the evening, where we discussed Na'ima's gnosis from Ma'at and what it meant, and about the current day Horus Ma'at Lodge and the work that they do. And just also, again, being inspired to do work to build an evolutionary culture that's conscious, that thinks well about other people, that practices respectful relationships with people and non-humans. The best and shortest road towards knowledge of truth is nature. That's an ancient Egyptian motto. So that was really great. And this was Saturday, May 23rd. Mitch gave a talk on manifesting Ma'at. Lori gave a talk too. Everybody there. It was really fascinating. There was a third conference about Hekate that comes out of I think London, but England, Europe, and had all three of these conferences were international in their scope. All three of them allowed people to register and pay what you can or for free. And so Ma'at, Hekate, and Kali were being focused on by thousands of people across the globe, which I just thought was... I love the centering of the ancient divine feminine. It helps me feel more, well, I don't really want to feel normal, but it's good for my heart and my spiritual practice to be joined by many, many other people in acknowledging the holiness of the feminine and the sacredness of the feminine in a patriarchal misogynist culture. It's a good turnaround. You know, one of the things that I say a lot in my work is that Bell Hook's book From Margin to Center is a really excellent example of taking marginalized identities and flipping the script so that they're centered. And in the Aphrodite Temple, when we talk about it being polynormative and queer-centric, that's what we're doing. We're taking these marginalized identities of polyamory and queerness and putting them in the center. I think that that's useful and at least helps other people shift their paradigm and start thinking critically about their own identities and why they're comfortable having them centered and who they consider the other to be. So those are some of the thoughts I'm having this morning. I also want to give a shout out to my friend David Chandler, who moved back to Portland a while ago and who was living in Prague and then Washington, D.C., and then back here. And so it's lovely to have my friend David back in my life. He's making bacon and eggs for us right now, which is great. My cats are lovely. I saw a great big possum come into my yard a couple of nights ago. There was this loud rustling for quite a while, and my cats and I were on the back porch kind of like with our ears up. And then this big possum is at least 2 feet long and probably more than 5 pounds, right? And they don't see very well, so they snuffle and they just go like this. And one came up to Lightning, and Lightning hissed at it and batted it, and it backed away. But then it came back a few minutes later. And then I researched it, and they eat ticks, they eat slugs, they eat rats. They have a high need for calcium, so they mostly eat dead things and chew the bones up, which is partly why their teeth are so sharp. And I was just, oh, possums are welcome in my garden because they will eat the slugs and ticks, and that's awesome. And they live in this really tall, it's almost, I think it's safe to say it's 100 feet tall pine tree that's back behind my neighbor's garage. And it's on the other property, but there's raccoon family in there, and there's a flicker family, which brings me great delight. The male will come and sit on my back fence and make that piercing cry that they have. And our yard's really turned into a bird sanctuary. There was this little scarlet-headed, yellow-bellied wren of some kind. I'm going to have to look it up. And there's a crow pair that come, and they have big bowls of water, and they come and wash themselves in the water and wash the things they've scavenged to eat in the water. And they hang out. It's really good. Almost all of the dahlias from last year have poked themselves up. Some of them are only this tall, and some of them are already a foot tall. So I know I'm going to have a beautiful dahlia crop in the backyard, and I will be sharing some of the beauty of all of that with you. So I said I would do a 20-minute video at 11 o'clock every Monday. I don't know what the front of this looks like right now because it gave me a message that there wasn't enough bandwidth, which is why I came inside. But I will work with Mark to figure out how I can generate a hotspot or whatever else I might need to do in order to have a live broadcast from the garden soon. And maybe next week I'll try it in the front yard, which should have enough bandwidth from the house. And then the week after I'll go in the backyard again. I really think you want to see the holy milk thistle. It just has such a presence. And the veins, there's green leaves, but it has these silver white veins. It's gorgeous. And I did see a yellow swallowtail today. So we will have some butterflies that come to it, but they are the symbiotic plant for showy milk thistle, and holy milk thistle are the symbiotic plant for monarch butterflies. And it may take, I don't know, a couple of years for them to find it. I don't know. I don't really know exactly how they signal, but I'll look it up. So that is the news from the garden today. If you want to get more news from Living Love Revolution, you can go to livingloverevolution.org, and on the bottom of the front page of the website is a way to sign up for the newsletter. And if you want to know more about Aphrodite Temple, it's aphroditetemple.com. Yeah, I'm still amazed I got that domain name. And thanks for watching.